If your beet plants have plenty of healthy leaves, but the roots underneath are staying frustratingly small, the problem may not be what you think. Thousands of gardeners unknowingly make one mistake that directs energy into foliage instead of root growth. Even worse, many add more fertilizer and make the situation worse. Research on root crops reveals that one simple free liquid can help support larger beet development when used correctly. Before you pour anything on your garden, there are several critical details you need to know. And if you are not subscribed to Smart Gardening yet, do that now, and give this video a like so more gardeners can find it. Most gardeners judge their beet crop by what they can see above ground. If the leaves are green, upright, and growing steadily, it feels like everything is going according to plan. Then harvest day arrives, and the roots are surprisingly small. That disconnect frustrates gardeners across the United States, Canada, and the United Kingdom every year. What makes beets tricky is that root development happens underground, where problems often go unnoticed for weeks. A beet root begins enlarging only when the plant has enough energy, moisture, nutrients, and space to store carbohydrates below the soil surface. If any one of those factors is limited, the plant may continue producing leaves, while root growth slows dramatically. One of the most common causes is overcrowding. Beet seeds are actually clusters that can produce multiple seedlings. When those seedlings compete for the same water, nutrients, and growing space, none of the roots reach their full potential. Another frequent issue is inconsistent watering. A few days of dry soil followed by heavy watering can interrupt steady root expansion at exactly the stage when the beet should be sizing up. There is also a fertilizer mistake that catches many gardeners by surprise. The same product that creates lush, beautiful foliage can quietly reduce the root growth you're hoping to harvest. In a moment, you'll see why that happens and how a simple free liquid may help shift the balance back toward larger beets. The real science behind beet sizing comes down to how the plant allocates energy. Beets are a storage root crop, which means the plant moves sugars produced in the leaves down into the root system. That process is called carbon partitioning. When conditions are right, more of that energy ends up in the root. When conditions are off, it stays in the leaves. High nitrogen soil is one of the biggest disruptors. Nitrogen encourages leafy growth because it signals the plant to focus on photosynthesis. That sounds good, but with beets it can delay or reduce root bulking. On the other hand, potassium and phosphorus play a much stronger role in root development and carbohydrate movement. That's why balanced nutrition matters more than heavy feeding. Now about the free liquid, many gardeners tout next about. In real gardening practice, the most reliable option is a simple compost tea or well-aerated plant-based soak. When compost is steeped in water, it releases soluble nutrients along with beneficial microbes. Those microbes help break down organic matter in the soil, making existing nutrients easier for the beet roots to absorb. This doesn't act like a fertilizer spike. Instead, it improves nutrient availability and supports a healthier soil environment, especially in beds that have become depleted or compacted over time. Research in soil microbiology has shown that active microbial communities improve nutrient cycling, which directly supports steady root crop development. But there's an important detail most gardeners miss when they try this approach, and it can completely change whether the results are noticeable or disappointing. One detail that changes everything is timing and dilution. Compost-based liquids are not meant to be strong or concentrated. If the solution is too rich, especially in nitrogen, it can push the plant even further toward leaf growth and away from root bulking. That's a mistake many gardeners make without realizing it. The safest approach is always a weak, well-filtered liquid applied to already moist soil. Dry soil followed by a nutrient drench can shock the root zone and reduce uptake efficiency. Beets prefer steady, gentle feeding rather than sudden changes. Another overlooked factor is soil oxygen. Compacted soil or waterlogged beds reduce oxygen around the developing root. Even if nutrients are available, the plant cannot use them efficiently without proper airflow in the root zone. That's why raised beds or lightly loosened soil often produce noticeably larger beets, even with the same feeding routine. And there's one more step that experienced growers use to consistently push root size further, especially in mid-season, when the plant is deciding how much energy to store underground. One mistake that quietly ruins beet size is overfeeding during mid-growth. once beet roots start forming. Too much additional nitrogen can lock the plant into leaf production again. You may see the tops get even bigger, but the root underneath stalls. That is often the exact moment gardeners lose their harvest potential without realizing it. Another issue is soil disturbance. Beets do not like their root zone disrupted after they begin sizing up. Deep cultivation or frequent loosening near the plant can break fine feeder roots that are responsible for pulling in water and nutrients. From a plant physiology standpoint, those fine roots are just as important as the main taproot development. If you're using compost tea or any homemade liquid, cleanliness matters more than strength. Always use well-aged compost. Fresh, unfinished organic matter can introduce harmful microbes that compete with beneficial soil life instead of supporting it. A strained, mild liquid is far safer and more effective than anything strong or dark. One more advanced tip experienced growers rely on is steady moisture management. Keeping soil evenly damp, not wet, allows uninterrupted carbohydrate movement into the root. Even short dry spells during bulking can permanently limit final beet size. And what happens in the final weeks before harvest is often the most overlooked stage of all, where small adjustments can still make a noticeable difference in size and sweetness. In the final 3 to 4 weeks before harvest, beet growth shifts from active expansion to sugar concentration. This is where the plant begins moving more stored carbohydrates into the root, improving both size and flavor. At this stage, stability matters more than stimulation. Any sudden change in water or nutrients can interrupt that finishing process. A common mistake is continuing strong feeding right up to harvest. While the intention is good, excess nitrogen late in the season can dilute sugar accumulation and keep the plant focused on leaf maintenance instead of root refinement. Experienced growers often ease off heavy feeding and focus on consistent moisture instead. Temperature also plays a role. Beets tend to size more steadily in cooler conditions, typically between mild spring and early autumn ranges. High heat can slow carbohydrate movement and make roots stay smaller, even if the plant looks healthy above ground. That's why timing your planting window is just as important as what you add to the soil. At this stage, the free liquid approach should be very minimal or stopped altogether. The goal is not to push growth anymore, but to maintain steady internal balance so the beet can finish properly. Overactive soil biology changes this late in the cycle can sometimes work against final root quality. Now, the most satisfying part for most gardeners is recognizing the visual signs that tell you the beet is actually ready, not just growing. Knowing when a beet is truly ready to harvest is where many gardeners either gain or lose quality. One of the most reliable indicators is the shoulder of the beet root pushing slightly above the soil line. When that upper portion reaches a firm, rounded shape around 2 to 3 inches across, the plant has usually completed its main sizing phase. Another clue comes from the leaves. Mature beet foliage often begins to lose its deep, vibrant green and shifts slightly toward a lighter tone. This does not mean the plant is failing. It's a natural signal that energy is no longer being heavily invested in leaf production and has already moved into the root. Texture matters too. When you gently brush away soil and feel the root surface, a firm, smooth structure indicates proper development. If the root feels thin, elongated, or fibrous, it usually means earlier growth conditions limited expansion, and no late-season correction will significantly change size at that point. It's important to remember that beets respond more to consistency than intensity. Even perfectly chosen amendments cannot compensate for long periods of stress earlier in the season. That is why steady moisture, balanced nutrition, and undisturbed soil conditions matter more than any single application. And once you understand how all of these factors come together, the final step is learning how to reliably repeat the success in every planting season. Consistent beet production comes down to building the same stable conditions every season rather than chasing quick fixes. The growers who regularly harvest large, well-formed roots tend to focus on 3 basics: loose, well-drained soil, even moisture from germination to harvest, and moderate feeding that avoids excess nitrogen. If you want to repeat good results, start with soil preparation before planting. A bed that has been lightly amended with mature compost and worked to a fine, crumbly texture gives beet roots the easiest path to expand. Once seeds in the ground, thinning is not optional. Each plant needs space, And skipping that step is one of the most common reasons for undersized roots. During the growing cycle, the goal is not to stimulate bursts of growth, but to maintain steady conditions. That means avoiding sudden fertilizer changes and keeping watering predictable. When gardeners try to push beets, they often interrupt the very balance the plant needs to form a solid storage root. The idea of a free liquid has value, but only as a support tool for soil biology, not as a replacement for good structure and consistency. Compost-based drenches can help in tired soils, but they will never outperform a well-prepared garden bed with stable conditions. If there's one takeaway from all of this, it is that beet size is decided long before harvest. Every choice from planting depth to spacing to watering rhythm quietly shapes the final result. And once you see how all those small decisions connect, you start to understand why some gardens produce large, sweet beets year after year, while others struggle with small roots despite the same effort.